my channel. My name is Linda. I have some fun DIYs for you today. So what are we waiting for? Let's get started. Today we'll be working on some country farmhouse style spring bunny crafts. We're going to use lots of Dollar Tree supplies, so let's get started with project number 1. Let's go over some product to start we'll be using. I'm going to be using this wood egg from Dollar Tree. I'm going to use these wood planks, just 2 out of the package or any thin wood you've got. I'm going to use some of this beautiful jelly ribbon, of course any jelly ribbon or ribbon you want. A wood heart, Dollar Tree has wood hearts you can use. I'm going to use this fabric from Dollar Tree. I'm also going to be using this placemat. You can use whatever, fabric you want. And I'm going to use batting. That, of course, is optional as well. Now, to start out with, I do have a free pattern for you. Link to my blog in the description box to find this pattern. This head, all I did was trace the egg. So if you have wood and want to cut out with your jigsaw, you can. Or, of course, you can use foam board or cardboard and cut that out as well. I'll also have 2 ears here, of course. 2 nose options. Of course, I'm using the wood heart, but if you're cutting this out of cardboard or whatever, you'll want the pattern, right? And then this is like the inner portion of the head to use with fabric in the inner ear portions. Also with fabric, although we're using fabric on everything. So there you go. So this is the fabric I've cut out. All right, and this is actually the head number 2 because it's smaller around, as you'll see when I lay this on here. So all the number 2 pieces are smaller around, okay? Now this is actually fabric. I forgot to tell you, this is fabric from this clothing item I bought because I only have 1 roll of that fabric left and I need it for my next video. So, all right, that said, let's move on to these wood planks here. I'm just going to trace my ears on these. Now these are ears number 1. Right, the first page. And then, oh, and I forgot to tell you, I actually am going to cut out a couple pieces of batting for this, but I've already got 1 cut out. We'll get back to that. I've already got my batting, 1 piece of batting, and that fabric for the ear. I think that's called boucle fabric because it's not a Sherpa, so correct me if I'm wrong. Now the inner ear, I've got the pink already cut out. You can see how that fits nicely on the inside. And you've got that little outer edge of the white showing. And then I've got my little piece cut for the heart. So you can cut any fabric for that if you want. You could just paint the hearts if you want. It doesn't matter. I just wanted a little texture on the nose. So all I did with this, I just kind of drew it on the wood planks there. I drew it near the edge because I'm just going to use my jigsaw and cut off the excess. And then I'm going to shape it with my sander. All right, now we're going into Dixie Belle chalk paint, the color Drop Cloth. I'm going to be using on all my pieces. I will cut all that off camera because it's nothing exciting to look at. But I do want to say, whether or not you're using wood for the main bunny head, you could use cardboard or foam board or whatever for the ears, for the hearts, however you want to do that. Okay, so that's just an option for you. Right, just continuing up the painting here. Oh, and I will add in another heart. I'll show you that in just a minute. I probably really didn't need to paint the centers of everything because it's covered up, but I did anyway. Hearts. I wasn't going to do the back side. I was just going to kind of paint it and leave it. And then I decided, no, I'll put fabric on the back and, do a cute little heart or a bigger heart for the bunny tail. You, of course, could use a pom-pom there if you want. So I brought in another heart. Now I'm just going to distress everything. It's mainly, a lot of the smaller pieces, you don't really see the distressing. You see it more on this piece because the inner core of this wood is a little bit darker. When you have light wood and you put light paint on it, you don't see a lot of distressing, but I know I did it, right? All right, so if you're a gluer, whether or not you use batting, you can start out already and you can go ahead and glue your batting and or fabric to your top piece. If you're a sewer, here soon I'm going to sew around it and then glue it on. With your ears, again, if you're a gluer, whether or not you use batting, you can go ahead and attach those pieces to your ear. Glue your batting together, glue your ears on, glue your inner ear on. And you can see that nice ring around it, around the pink. See that nice little ring? It shows right around that pink, so that's nice. Now, if I'm a sewer, I'm going to sew around on the white fabric, on the pink fabric, and then I'm going to glue it down. Here's my bigger heart piece here. Gluers, you can go ahead and glue that down. I'm going to sew around it. I want to add that texture, and as well as the little heart, which is our nose. You can glue down your fabric, or sew it and then glue it down. Or if you're not going to use fabric on those heart pieces, just paint it. All right? I cut another piece for the back. I'm not using batting on the back, so if you're a gluer, you can glue that down, and then you can glue whatever you're going to use for the tail on the back. Now the front side, I cut a piece of that boucle for the back, and I'm going to show you in a minute what I've done to it. It's in one whole piece now. I'm not going to use batting on the back. It's just fabric. So your front piece, if you use batting, has batting, your outer ear, your inner ear, and the back side has just the outer ear of fabric only, okay? And I'll show you why. I'm going to adjust it in a minute. I'm going to actually cut part of it off, and I'll show you why in a minute. Of course, here I am just, doing a little sewing. Like I said, I'm sewing on the white part of the outer ear, and then I'll sew on the pink part of the inner ear just to give it that texture. And then I'm sewing around my hearts here. And whether or not you're a sewer, you might not want fabric and stuff on your hearts, It's just, you do you. I'm just giving you inspiration. I feel like I go back and forth. If you don't like this, do this. If you don't like this, do this. But hopefully I'm helpful and not confusing. All right, so everything's sewn. Here's my front piece, okay? I'm just laying it on here for a minute. Let's discuss the ears. You can see at the bottom, I've marked the ears right here. So, and then I went ahead and sewed my ear pieces, and I cut them off the area where I marked. I don't want that much, and I'll show you why in a minute, okay? Hopefully it's not confusing, probably easier to watch. You're going to want to cut part of that off, because what I'm doing is we're laying our ears underneath our fabric, okay? So what I did, I'm going to put my ears at a slant. You might want them straight up. Put them where I want it, and I marked it off the back of the ears, all right? And then I'm going to mark on the front side. I'm going to mark around both sets of ears, okay? Now, this batting, I remember I said I had one piece of batting. I'm going to actually cut 2 more pieces of batting, all right? And the reason I'm doing this, because when we place the ears down and then we have fabric on top of them, let me show you right here. And then if we only use one piece of batting on this, when we lay it and glue it down, you're going to get this big old bunch where the ear is. And we want to make everything level underneath our main bunny fabric so that it matches the height of the ear, okay? Now what I'm doing here, where I marked it in pencil, I'm just marking it in a Sharpie marker so that I can lay my extra 2 pieces of batting on top and see my line underneath, and then I can cut that out to fit that area where my ears are going to lay. We don't want to lay that over the ears, because then that's going to make the ears even taller, right? So the ears are going to fit inside that area that you cut out, okay? And I'm going to get those pieces glued on to the batting that's already there. So I've already sewed around the main piece. And then I'm going to glue my tops of my ears on, both pieces. And then that piece on the back, when we glue that on, the part down below where we don't have any fabric, why I didn't put fabric there is so that we attach our ears to the wood piece. It doesn't have that bulky of the fabric on the back side. We're attaching wood to wood, and it'll be easier to see here in just a minute. But that's why I cut those short. You don't have to, but I did. All right? Okay, we'll come back to that in a minute. We're going to just start getting all our pieces glued on, my, tail here, the nose, all that kind of stuff, getting everything ready so that we can start to assemble. But before we start to assemble, we need to get some eyes on. So I've laid my nose down just kind of where I want it, and I've marked where I want my eyes. I want them just kind of right close in the nose, a little bit slanted. I think it's cute. You could just add little paint there, however you want. You don't have to add beads. I'm going to use this crochet string and a needle. You could use regular thread. I'm going to come through the back side and pull the needle through, and then I'm going to add 1 bead on here, and then I'm going to pull it all the way up, all the string up till the knot hits the back of that fabric, and then I'm going to come right close next to where I came out at, not back through the same hole, right close, and then pull it tight. And then I'm going to come again from the back side where I marked it, bring my needle all the way through till my thread is not going to come any further. All right, add another bead, and then I'm going to go from the front to the back, right close to the same hole I came out at, and then pull it all the way through. The beads, I got them at Walmart. They come in like a package of 4 different sizes for around $4 or $5. And I'm going to pull my thread on the back side really tight. If you can see here, it kind of sinks those beads in. It's just preference. And then I'm kind of holding it with my fingers so my thread doesn't loosen back up there, and I'm just tying it in a knot to tie it off. Now, once I do that, my beads are in place. If you don't want to sew your beads on, glue them on. If you know how to make French knots with crochet thread, make cute little French knots. However you want to do it. All right, let's start gluing our ears on. See where this is bare wood here? The thickness is not there because we don't have any fabric, and that way it's not going to impede anything when we go to lay these down in the spot we marked. And then I'm going to just add glue on the ears, on the wood, on the front piece, and I'm going to lay everything down over the top. And then I'm going to just start to kind of, you know, squish it down where I sewed, you know, just to kind of make it look a little more bubbly. I'm going to just kind of push down around the edges of where I sewed. And now I'm gluing the back side on, and then I'm going to glue the little heart on. Right, and then I'm going to glue the little nose on where I want. But before we do that, I want to make some whiskers. So I'm going to bring in that crochet thread again. I'm cutting basically probably about 8-inch length pieces, 2 pieces per set, let's say, all right? About 8-inch length, and then I'll take 2 pieces, the first set, kind of fold it in half, and then I'm just going to make a little knot at one end. And these will be too long. I will trim them off. I think I trim them off camera, but just making a little knot there, just like that. Okay, you can see they're pretty long. They're about 1 inch long. Better to have too much than not enough, right? Same thing with the other 2-piece set. I'm going to tie a little knot on one end, and then I'm going to lay them down in the middle, kind of overlap where those loops are. Fan out my little whiskers. Get them how I want it. Make sure everything lays good, and then I'm just going to glue that thread down in the middle. I'm just going to glue right underneath it to lay those down, and then we'll glue our nose down right on top. Okay, and you know what? I was just thinking about it while we're gluing our nose down. I think on the back side I did end up using a piece of batting. I think my eyes just saw that. I didn't think I did. I think I used a piece of batting with that fabric to cover the back of the bunny as well, but you don't need batting if you don't want. Now I'm using this Distress Oxide ink and warm lipstick with a little ink dauber, and I'm just making some little round cheeks. You can skip that or not skip that, or use paint, watered down paint if you want. And now I'm just, the left side is glued. I just kind of made my whiskers a little wiggly. You know, the shape I wanted, they're already cut down. I cut them so the length was right to the edge of that wood piece, and then I'm just gluing each whisker down. Nice and easy. Okay, and then I'm adding a tiny little, probably 1/2-inch piece right underneath the nose. I'll glue that down as well if you want that little piece there. And now I've got some black paint mixed with water, and I'm adding some splatters with Bella right next to me. You don't need to, but I think it just gives it a little bit of personality. Yeah, I'm not going to lie, Bella got a few splatters, but thank goodness it's water-based paint, right? Just a wet paper towel, and I got those off. Shh. Don't tell anybody. All right, now I'm using this plaid ribbon I picked up at Hobby Lobby. I've already tied it into a bow. It was actually $4.99. You get 4 yards, but then it was like 40% off when I bought it, so not terrible. And then a white crochet flower and a couple of little pink flowers. I was going to use leaves and do a whole bunch there, but anything I put up there just kind of took away from the bunny itself. So I thought, you know what, just a bow and a couple of flowers. I even debated on using flowers. I was like, I kind of just like the bow. I don't know. It took me like half hour to decide what I wanted here. In the end, you can see what I ended up with. Once I glue these flowers on, that makes this project complete. We'll take a look at the results at the end of the video. Let's head on right into project number 2. Did I say that backwards? For this project, I'm going to be using more of this boucle fabric. This is our friend today, and I love that Dollar Tree carries it, although ours has been out for a while now. I bought up every color they had, and it's almost gone. And I'm using this machine sewn quilt. I get these off like Amazon or eBay around $40. It's really thin type quilt. They're nice, and I just cut them up. And of course I'm going to use some batting. That is optional, as I always say. You can pick this up at Walmart by that bag or by the yard. You can have it cut by the yard. Okay, so here's my quilt here, and this is about 19 inches long by about 14. Okay, you can make whatever size you want. It's ready to go. I love it. It's quilted. It has design on it, so I love it. Okay, so again, a pattern for you. It comes in 2 pieces. You've got the bottom and the top, and you're just going to cut it and then tape it together at the dash lines to get your bunny head pattern. All right, and then I have another pattern for you. I almost made 2 pillows, but I didn't. They're bows, all right? So you've got the boy, a bow tie for the boy in case you want to make a set, 3 pieces, all right? And the top piece you're gonna like tape together at the arrows, and then the girl bow, all right? And all these pieces. There we go. So here again is my fabric. Again, I use that clothing material I cut up because I only have that one roll, and I'm using 2 pieces of batting behind that, okay? Yeah, I need that roll for my next video, which is coming out very soon. Hint, hint, hint. You know what that means. Wednesday. Anyway, so, and it's just like it. It's just a little bit thicker. Here's my bow pieces. I cut 2 pieces of batting. All right. And then, of course, a piece of fabric. Now, I cut mine separate. You could cut your piece out in one piece and tape it together at the arrows like it shows on the pattern. All right, but I just cut it separate. I've got the little tails. I've got 1 piece of fabric and 2 pieces of batting for those, and those will sit kind of right up underneath. And then, of course, for the center of our little bow, 2 pieces of batting and the fabric. Again, your batting is optional. All right, this is what it's going to look like. All right, so I'm going to place my bunny about 1.5 inches from the top and bottom edge, and I believe it's about 2 inches or so side to side. If you're a gluer, all right, you can go ahead whether or not use batting. If you use batting, glue your batting together, glue it to your, fabric, and then glue your whole piece down. If you don't, just glue fabric down if you don't want to use batting. All right, you can go ahead and glue that down. Now for your bow, you can go ahead and glue your batting if you use it to your bow pieces, but you're not going to glue this top part down yet. We have to start with the tails first, all right, because that's the most lowest under piece, right? So glue your batting on if you're using it or not, and then glue your tails down into position, all right? And then you can come in and glue your main bow on and your center, all right? I'm a sewer, so I'm going to sew my bunny and batting to the first piece of our pillow only, okay? And then I'm going to show you something here on the bow. We'll get to that in a minute when we go to get everything, the bow assembled onto our pillow here, and that's obviously for you gluers as well, especially if you're going to use batting. If you're not going to use batting, you don't need to worry about what I'm going to show you. All right? Yeah, this would be so cute to make a boy and a girl. Yeah, because you could do, you might not have the boucle fabric, but, you could do regular fabric for the boy and have it be in a boy color, and they got a bow tie, and then I just think it would be adorable. Anyway, I just made the girl because I was doing a lot of projects this week, so you get one pillow only to watch. Video's long enough. I had to slow some things down to explain some stuff, so I'm sure you're glad, we're only doing one pillow here. All right, here's what it looks like. Okay, it's ready to go. And you can see the back looks really nice. You can see the sewing pattern I did just around the face and the ears. And yeah, here's where I'm checking at. I'm about 2 inches from the top, and where I'm going to start sewing down my tails, I want to make sure that they are 2 inches from the top, and they will actually probably be about 2 inches side to side. So I'm just getting them situated here. Just center your pieces. That's what I'm going to tell you. And now I'm spot gluing my batting on and my fabric so that they don't move, and then I can take those to the sewing machine. Like here, I'll just show sewing one and then sewing around it. I love to sew these on because it just kind of helps them poof up a little bit, so to speak. But if I didn't have a sewing machine or whatever, or wasn't a sewer, gluing them on is going to look just as cute. And if you are a gluer but you love to hand stitch, you could add some hand stitches in there just to give it a little bit of personality and a little bit of design if you want. So that's always an option. All right, so here's my tails sewn on. I don't care that the batting kind of leaks out around my pieces because I think that's cute. All right, so we need to lay our top pieces on. Here's what I alluded to earlier, just hinting about. So when we lay these on, see how it pushes into the center, because it's a tallness from the bunny down to the bow. So I actually cut a few pieces of batting, like 3, I think, just to fill that space in. So when I lay the top bow pieces on, that will lay level across the top, okay? And this is probably going to be more so if you're using batting underneath all your pieces, because it's going to make all your fabrics all raise up. If you're just kind of gluing fabric down itself onto, or sewing fabric only onto your main piece, you're probably not going to need to, you know, take up space to layer all these pieces. So I'm just spot gluing my bow stuff together with all the batting and everything like that. And then of course I will take it to the sewing machine and, you know, sew around them. And I hope what I explained about that is understandable. So you're probably only going to want to fill in that space if you're using batting. If you're not, you're probably not going to have to worry about it. All right. Okay, so here's my bow pieces on top of that. And now what I'm going to do is add in my centerpiece. Okay, just gluing down the batting here, spot gluing. I may have added, I almost think I did a couple pieces underneath those circles. Again, batting, filling in the space. And then sewed that on off camera, and then here's what everything looks like. I'm going to kind of poof up the bow and everything, but it looks totally cute. And now we're going to get our main pillow together, okay? So if you're a gluer, you're going to come along the edge between the two fabrics. You're going to go about 3 3/4 the way around, and about at hand width opening you're going to leave for stuffing. If you're a sewer, of course, we're going to do that same exact thing. All right, so here I am sewing everything down. And if you don't have quilting for the back or anything like that, just use regular fabric. It's all good. I just like to use the quilting and stuff like that. You know, I've been watching a lot of people on Instagram and stuff, and they take old quilts and reuse and sew all these fun things. And I just kind of got into that last year, and I really like that look. It's just that country farmhouse look. I love it. And so that's what I'm going with. But you use whatever fabrics and things that you desire. I'm just here, as I said in the last project, I'm just here for inspiration for you. All right? So I'm going to go down to about where I've got double pinned. I always double pin right here so I know, hey, stop, full stop here. Got it sewn all the way around and my opening, and then I'm just going to start stuffing it. And I like to stuff my pillows really tight. And with this size pillow, I probably use almost a whole pillow from Walmart. I buy those $3.44 pillows, Walmart full queen size pillows, because it's cheaper than buying stuffing in the crafting section. Runs, you know, under $4. So once you're done stuffing, glue or sew it closed. So there you go. There's my idea. If you don't know about that, buy pillows for stuffing. Now I'm taking my sanding paper and I want to really roughen up those edges. It's a quick way to do it, and I'm just sanding along the edges of my quilt to really get that distressing. And then of course once I do that, that makes this project complete. We'll take a look at the end results at the end of the video. Let's move into our last project, number 3. Now, I love this project because it's simple in design, and sometimes I don't like a lot of foo-foo, believe it or not. We're going to be using these holders from candle holders from Dollar Tree. All right, and then I'm going to use some of these plates. They were all in the candles section. I'm going to use one square and one round one just to be different. I'm going to use some air dry clay from Iron Orchid Designs. I'll try to have a link down below for you, but I know some of the people that we watch here on YouTube sell this product. And then I have this silicone bunny mold I got off Etsy. I will have a link down below for you on that. Right now it's on sale through April 1st for under $10. You can or not, don't have to use baking soda. A lot of people like to use it and put it in their molds here, and I just kind of brush it with a paintbrush to fill it in. It just makes it so your clay doesn't stick. So I'm putting some of this air dry clay in. I'm going to do one bunny per candle holder, all right? And I go to add a little bit more. Now this one, the second one, how am I going to say that? The second one, I made it so poofy, it was perfect. This one, I ended up having to add more clay to it because of that up and down ridges in our candle holder. Once you've got it formed, just lay it down and then pull your mold off of your bunny pattern, and this is what it looks like. Okay, and then I'm just taking one of these little spatulas. You can use whatever works for you, a little craft knife or whatever, and I'm just coming off and taking all the excess off around the bunny. Yeah, this project is so simple and easy, but I love how it turned out. All right, and you can see what it looks like when I got everything off, all right? And then I'm just going to lay it here. See, we've got all those ups and downs on our candle holder. I'm going to probably lay it about 1 inch up. And these bunny molds, I went searching because I knew what size I wanted to fit these candle holders, and they are the perfect size for these candle holders. So I'm just pressing it on, or did just press it on. And now you can see here, I had to add, I took some more clay, kind of rolled it in a tube, and I had to add it in here to fill in the gap where those, you know, molds kind of go into a valley, right? And then once I pressed it back up against the candle mold, now I'm coming in with this quick hold glue. I put it on first and then take a Q-tip to spread it to the outer edges because I don't want any of it to leak out around. And then I place it back on where it goes because I know where it's going to go because I can kind of see underneath the bunny my little peaks and valleys. And then I press it on and let it dry. All right, so this one you can see how much clay I started with because you can take off excess and it was a lot easier to add. And then I'm pressing it on here first before I take it out of the mold. There's my peaks and valleys. That was actually perfect. Then I'm going to lay it down, the silicone mold, and I'm going to peel it up off of the bunny. Okay, this one was so much quicker and easy. So do like this one, not my first one. All right, looks good. And then I'm going to take my little spatula here, cut off the excess all around it. We don't want any of that there. And then here I am adding my glue because it fit perfectly. I laid it back on, fits great. See, I added on, and this glue is actually kind of runny, so it runs out all over. So I add it on and then take a Q-tip to kind of spread it out to the edges and then thin the glue out a little bit. That way it doesn't leak out underneath. Although if it did, I mean, that porcelain candle holder thing, it would come off easy, but there you go. Placing it about 1 inch up. I matched it with my other one so it was in the right direction. And then I'm taking a paintbrush and some water, wetting my paintbrush down and this little spatula here. And I'm just getting the bunny as close to the candle holder as I can. Because when this bunny dries, air dry clay shrinks and it's going to, even though we glued it down, the edges are going to shrink up off of our candle holder a bit. So by pushing them down as good as we can or as close as we can, kind of round it, I wanted my edges kind of rounded out as it, you know, went toward the candle holder, right? It'll do better. Now I'm going to let this dry for probably an hour and then I'm going to go ahead and glue my plates on here and then I'll let it set up the rest of the 24 hours that you need to let your air dry clay dry. All right, so here I am. I'm adding some cardboard in the center, 2 pieces of cardboard, because it's going to give me a little more gluing surface, right? So once I lay that down, it might be kind of hard to tell on the camera, but when I bring it up, when both of these done, you'll see it's level from that rolled lip of the candle holder right across the cardboard there. It's nice and level here, and it just gives me all that gluing surface to get those plates on. Okay? You don't have to do it. I just want a little more gluing surface. I'm just coming right inside that lip. I'm not going over the top. You could, but I'm trying to, you know, have minimal glue cleanup because since I have all the center area to glue to as well, I don't really need to go to the outer edges of that candle holder lip. Okay, and then I'm just going to place it right on here and it fit perfectly inside that plate. I mean, perfectly, the lip of the plate right up against the lip of the candle holder, and same with the square one. I mean, look at that, right up to the lip. Now you can see my bunny. See how it's pulled away on those edges? It's still glued down good, but it's pulled up along the edges as it shrunk and dried. Okay, so we're going to fill those in. Let me show you this one too. It's really easy to fill in. The glue's nice and stuck there. But of course, you can see where it shrunk up a little bit. So I am going to bring in this joint compound here, and you could use that stuff you get at Walmart, the little stuff everybody uses. I can't think of the name of it now, but I'm using this and these cake decorating tools from Dollar Tree because they work perfectly, the one with the little points on it. Yeah, and so you just take a little bit of this and get it in around the edges. It does take me a little while, probably half an hour, but what I do is I go in and I plop a bunch around the edges just to fill in the cracks, okay? And then I can go in with like a wet paintbrush and I can smooth around it and just, you know, really work with it back and forth till I like how it looks. And what's nice about this joint compound, it's like the same color, and then after about 10 minutes, it becomes really moldable. It starts to set up so you can really work with it. It becomes nice and pliable to kind of work with it. So here you can see what both of these look like. They're not even dry yet. I'll let it dry for about another 10 minutes. And then once it is dry, I take water and a wet Q-tip and I just get any excess off, you know, dust, so to speak, off around the bunny. Then once that's done, I just let it go for about an hour. You probably don't even need to do that, but I'm going to take this white spray paint. I love Rust-Oleum brand. We all have our favorites. It's just white chalk, and I'm just painting these the white color that they are, but the candle holder versus the plate versus the bunny, they're different shades of white, and I want them to be all the same white. Nice and easy. I love how these turned out. Like I said, very simple in design, but I think they look elegant. And I wanted them white because then once they are done, then you can place all your colored things on top, like, beautiful spring colored flowers or candles, or like I just set some bunnies and eggs on top, that kind of thing. And it just really made the difference by leaving these white. I did a couple coats of spray paint, and once these were dry, that makes this project complete. I hope you enjoyed all these projects today. I mean, look at that cute bunny. And the candlesticks, I love them. I love them all white with just, the hint of color on top. You could put a lot more on that, but this was just a little bit so you could kind of, get a look at what they would look like decorated up. And then the cute bunny pillow. I mean, if you had a boy and a girl version, come on now. Leave me a comment down below and let me know your thoughts. Yes, I changed it up. Sometimes I like to throw something different at you for your comments. And please give this video a thumbs up. Share it if you'd like. It really helps my channel to grow. I would so appreciate it. And if you walked in here for the first time, you're just checking things out, you're digging what you saw, make sure before you click off, you hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss out on another video from me. Now, before I go, I'm going to leave you with one final thought. There are words to a country song by Tim McGraw, and the chorus says, "Hold the door, say please, say thank you, don't steal, don't cheat, don't lie. I know you got mountains to climb, but always stay humble and kind." These words may have been written for a country song, but they ring true to words throughout the pages of the Bible. God wants us to act and react towards situations and or people around us with humility and compassion. In today's world, within the scope of conflicts floating all around us, our hearts can be easily hardened, but we must remember that God lives in us and He lives through us. His attributes aren't meant to be only read through the pages of His book. They are meant to be instilled in us and reflected outward through us. We need to live and act in a way that honors God with what He has taught us. As children, we want to emulate our parents. We see them as heroes, and we want to be like them, so we watch them and copy them, and then we act like them. God treats each of us with love and grace, and His goodness is instilled in us through His blood of righteousness. So what a better way to acknowledge our Father in heaven by taking the characteristics of our hero and copying them, becoming one with them, and then in our daily lives we can let them flourish in all we do and say. Paul says in the Bible, the book of Philippians chapter 4, verses 8 and 9, "Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. Whatever you have learned or received or heard from me or seen in me, put it into practice." And in the Bible, the book of Ephesians chapter 4, verse 6 states that there is one God and Father of all, who is over all and through all and in all. Through Paul's writing, we read that he did his best to let Jesus be seen in and through him. He learned from his hero. Another example of how we should do the same thing. As Jesus is in us and over us and through us, we need to strive toward extending the best of Him outwardly to others. Lastly, in the Bible, the book of Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 2, it says, "Be completely humble and gentle. Be patient, bearing with one another in love." Yep, this should be easy to hear, easy to understand, and certainly easy to accomplish. We should always stay humble and kind. Doesn't this remind us about some words to a country song we just learned about? I thank you for sharing your time with me, and I'll talk with you again soon. Bye.